Hello, welcome to WDEP News. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Denise Gonzalez, and today we'll be discussing violent video games and aggressions. Does watching or playing video games truly affect children's behavior? Well, according to a researcher from an experimental study of differential effects of playing video games versus watching video games created by Hack Pullman, he truly believes that they could affect children's behavior. In our country today, there has been a massive increase of changes from children's behavior that may or may not be affected by violent programs or video games, which could lead them to be more aggressive to themselves and could affect others due to this problem. In Pullman's experimental study previously mentioned, the study included 57 children aged between 10 to 13. Now, while they were being studied, the researchers analyzed those children and they measured out by what they called peer nominations. Peer nominations is during the time the children decide to go play recess outside. And while they were playing recess outside, the researchers were analyzing and reporting back to the study to see if they were aggressive to anyone else during the study. With more detail, we have Chantel explaining more in depth of what happened during the study.
Hi, my name is Chantel DeVille. I found some research on children aggression toward video games and the effects that it can cause, which is aggressive behaviors to themselves and others. And this experiment was conducted by Hack Pullman, and the experiment investigates the children actually watching versus playing the games. So all children aged from 10 to 13 were measured by taking these children out of their classes and observing them by playing outside. That was the first experiment. And we all know that phones, tablets, computers can all be monitored, but we have no control over video games. So this is an interesting study. In the study, there were 3 groups of children. 3 children were selected out of those 3 groups, and they could have the choice to choose between a violent video game and a non-violent video game. And we observed their behavior after they played. And while they played for about 15 minutes, we took another set of kids to watch them. Those set of kids had to fill out a survey or a questionnaire and mark it from 1 to 5 of how frustrated or how tense the child was. And the most frustrated and tense kids were the kids who did in fact play the violent video games. Now, these were only 3 participants, but do you think that violent video games will soon affect everyone, or is it just some people?
Thank you, Chantel, for that lovely explanation of that study. Now, there also was a similar study that was put out, which was called Playing Violent Video Games, Dissentation and Moral Evaluation in Children, which was created by Janine B. Funk. Of course, she's not here today, but as from what I found out from the research, they were observing an experimental study of 66 children, which had group ages from 5 to 12. They were told to play 1 violent video game, which was not mentioned in the research, and 1 racing motorcycle game to see what they felt towards those games while they were playing, and they also complete a questionnaire in the end of the study. What they found out was that from ages 4 to 6, they felt more aggression, and they saw and displayed more aggression towards the violent video games than they did with the motorcycle racing game. But as 7, 12-year-olds, they didn't see any changes between both of those video games. They didn't see any aggression or less aggression. Of course, this was concerning to Janine B. Funk because she realized that if from ages 4 to 6 had an increase of more aggression, it shows that it may affect their lives when they're older. and they may become more aggressive and maybe more passive aggressive, which could lead them into more criminal acts, as she says inside the study. Of course, although this research doesn't specifically give you why as the violent video games affected the children or why they felt towards more aggression through the violent video game than to the racing video game, I had asked my colleagues to ask citizens or parents, any type of anybody, to see their point of view as their opinion as to why maybe they felt more aggression, and also would they ever let them play violent video games to their own children. So here's Eve Ennis and Ryan Johnson with local interviews.
Hi, I'm Eve Ennis. I'm here today with Kayla Weekland to discuss violent and video games with children. So Kayla, do you believe violence in video games causes violence in children?
I believe yes and no. Like, if a child is playing a lot of violent video games, maybe they'll end up acting on it, but I don't think it's the video games that started. I think they just make it worse.
Okay. Is there such thing as too much time when children playing video games?
Yeah, I think you should limit it to less than a couple hours a day. You should spend time outside, sport, or stuff like that. It becomes a problem when you're always on the video game.
And did you play video games as a kid?
Here and there, yeah, I did.
What kind of video games, and were they violent?
Yeah, my first video game was Mortal Kombat, so yeah.
Do you think they made you more violent towards others in real life?
I don't remember trying to cut people open, so probably not. No, not really.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Ryan, and I'm here to talk with Nadine and Steven about the effects of violent video games on children. So, do you guys believe that violence in video games is having an effect on children?
In the long run, I believe young children, I don't think they should play violent video games just because they can see like that and they might try to like stab, or grab a knife. So I don't feel like they should be involved in playing violent video games.
I agree with Steven. When you're a kid, the lines between reality and pretend get a little bit blurry. I know for a fact my cousin, who's like 5, told my the other day that she wanted to gut her, like chicken her eyes out.
So
because
obviously,
she lets him play violent video games. So
obviously he got that from him.
they go hand in hand.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's a good example.
That's a good example.
Is there such thing as too much violence in video games that kids can play at one time?
I mean, if there's, it's one thing to like punch somebody, but it's another to like stab them and gut them.
If children, I feel like under 15 shouldn't play really violent video games and see all this gory stuff just because they shouldn't just see that stuff being that young.
You're too young.
Way too
to
young.
Be exposed.
Way too young to be exposed to.
Okay. Have you guys ever played video games as a kid? Okay. The games that you played, were they violent at all?
I didn't start playing like Call of Duty or those type of games till probably 14, 15, so I think that was old enough. Okay. My parents didn't allow me to get games like that until I was like a teenager.
So because you didn't play violent video games as a kid, you think that helped with your violence towards others, how it's not as much as some people think it is today with other kids?
I feel like yes, because I also have some friends that were playing violent video games.
And they're just now violent again.
They're just very violent people.
Or in jail.
Or in jail, yes. I do have some friends there.
Alright. And I think that's all.
I'm here with Jordan now to talk about the effects of violent video games on children. So Jordan, do you believe that violence in video games causes violence in children?
I actually do not. The thing with violence is if you have that, it's already going to be in you. People who are psychopaths, serial killers, it's either genetically in you or they had a traumatic experience as a child. So for video games, it's typically just a release and a stress reliever for most people. So for that correlation, I don't believe it's true.
Okay. Do you believe there's such thing as too much time with children playing violent video games?
Definitely. I mean, like with anything, there's always going to be too much, whether you're on your phone or you have, you're on the internet. But for video games, a lot of people play hours on end, and even with violent ones, I think it should be like a limit of an hour, maybe two.
Did you play video games as a kid?
I did not.
Oh, well. Do you know anyone that did play violent video games as a kid? And do you think that it should made them more violent in real life?
I wouldn't say so. Like I do have friends who have played, different games such as like Call of Duty or Halo or even GTA, which is now I don't think that's that violent, but I don't think it's changed them at all. I think they're still the same person as they were yesterday.
Okay. Well,
Thank you, Eva Ryan, for those lovely interviews. And what do you guys think? Does violent video games truly affect kids' behavior? Should parents start be more concerned of what their kids watch, play online or on TV? Well, we can't really answer that for you, but that's all we have for today. So thank you for tuning in. And next on 12:30 will be more on the subject on violent video games and aggression. Thank you all and have a good day.